Raghunath Das and Lord Nityananda's Chip Rice Festival. Lord Chaitanya meets Raghunath Das Goswami. Let me see. Chira Doi Mahotsav it's called. And difficult. I should have looked this up earlier on because this may take a long time to find. I wanted to read something, not just talk about it. Look up Chira Doi. Chira, C-I-R-A, / Dai, D-H-A-I. Here it is. It is in chapter 6, by the looks of it. Text number 77. It's actually earlier than that.
50.
Pardon?
Text 50.
50? We'll start earlier than that. See if you can trace down back to Seva and see if what's happening there. Excuse me?
I already messaged.
Oh, you message. I don't know what we're going to sing this morning. We sung Gauranga Bolite Habe last night and Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dayakuramani this morning. What other song do you like to sing? Related to Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Caritamrta. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Hare Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Echai Kosai Kori Charana Vandana. Is it there? Not there? Ya Haiti Vignanash Abhishta Purana. It's not on the screen, huh? Oh. It's quite a long song. Okay, we'll just sing the first part. Hare Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. When Lord Chaitanya, he was asked, how should we chant these names of Krishna? You say we should always chant the names of Krishna. And then Lord Chaitanya began singing this two lines of this song of Narottam Das Thakur. And it's a little different than the song which we sing. One word. It's not Hari Haraye, it's Haraye. That's in the Chaitanya Caritamrta. Yeah. So then later on, Narottam Das compiled a song where we see, probably anyway, it's Hari Haraye. I'm not sure if it's even Hari Haraye, but that's how it's come out. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Maybe I've got them. Here, I've got them. Hare Krishna, I've got them. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Bo. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We will begin reading from Chaitanya Caritamrta. I will just read the English most of the time because we don't have much time. I'm going to go back just quickly. You may know who is Raghunath Das Goswami, the son of Govardhan Majumdar. He appeared, I can't remember the name of the village, somewhere or another. Anyway, he appeared there. And as a young child, he had the association of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was like his Siksha guru. And that way he grew up. His father was a devotee, his uncle was a devotee, Hiranya Majumdar. They were famous associates of Lord Chaitanya eventually. Very, very rich landowners, landholders, tax collectors, and so on. Multi-rich. They were extorting, nothing new, extorting money from the government through the tax and so on. They got caught. The government tried to penalize them. Raghunath Das, just of course when he grew up later on in his life, he was very, very expert in diplomacy. Although he was born in a Kayastha family, they're generally regarded as sort of kind of Sudras by some people's standards. They're very intelligent and very expert in financial matters. So he expertly negotiated with the government to make an arrangement so his father and his uncle were not penalized, so to speak, and life went on. But when Raghunath Das, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he had the opportunity to associate with Mahaprabhu as a young man, young child, very young child at that time. And he became madly attracted to Mahaprabhu. And again, he wanted to join Mahaprabhu or Lord Chaitanya after he took sannyas. His parents, like all good parents, did not want him to leave home. They wanted him to be a normal, civilized person, get married, have children, run the business. So Raghunath was not at all interested in that, but his family, his mother and father and his uncle and all the rest of the family were very keen. He was the only son, so he would be continue the legacy or the family lineage and become the proprietor of their massive riches and so on. They weren't exactly kings, but they were living like kings. And he wasn't interested the least. We may give up our lives, but some of us may have been millionaires before we joined, I don't know. Whether you were a billionaire before you joined the Hare Krishna movement. Did anyone give up like a massive house with millions and billions of pesos in your bank account, not having to work? You've got everything material you can think of. Did anyone give that up to join the Hare Krishna movement? Anyone here? Maybe Bharat Prabhu? I thought you were coming from the billionaire clan. No? Most of us were not from that area of society. Many of us had no job, no money, nowhere practically to live sometimes. Living very austere situations, and we join the Hare Krishna movement, and we surrender. But imagine if you have billions and billions and billions of pesos, and you everything materially, and give it up to become a poverty-stricken beggar, a Hare Krishna monk, right? That's quite a sacrifice. Giriraj Maharaj, his family were billionaires, practically, in pesos at least. And they offered him millions of dollars and the whole business. He had some big business, I don't know what it was. Was he a lawyer or something? I don't know what he was. Something like that. Quite a few of the early devotees, their parents were super duper rich. Super duper, like they were owning big companies. You take, Ambarish Prabhu, for instance, he was one of the heirs to the Ford motor industry. Lekha Shravanti, her father was the owner of what was the other rival company, I can't remember what was it called? American car, something or another, Chrysler, I think. Chrysler? Is that something like that? And her father was like, the managing director or the owner of that company. And they gave up the opportunity to literally, be big people in the material world, Pretty well, not entirely. I mean, Ambarish, Alfred Ford at the time, he continued his connection there. Although he was a fully initiated devotee, practicing full devotional service, he still kept his connection. And because of Alfred Ford, you could say more or less the Temple of Vedic Planetarium is approaching completion. We don't know when the final day will come. It keeps going, delayed. They keep having to think of a special event to, aim at. Now, I don't know, I guess we can go back in the decade, but now we're at the end. 1977 was the last year Prabhupada performed his pastimes on the planet. Huh? So next year is 2027. But that's what, how many years? 50 years? So next year is supposed to be the offering for Prabhupada's 50th anniversary of his Tirobhav, opening of the TOVP. I think they should do it. It's just like they opened this temple in Taguig just now, and it's nowhere near completed. In certain areas it is, in many areas it's not. But they opened it because they made a deadline. For better or for worse, they opened it at that time. Could have been a few more things done, but what to do? Otherwise it can drag on and on and on and on and on. Isn't it? And, everyone starts wondering, is this ever going to end? I'm not going to see it in my lifetime, I mean, especially Jayapataka Maharaj, who's dedicated his life and blood for the Mayapur project, Isn't it? And Ambarish himself is in a very bad health state, so I pray that they open next year at least. And everyone, those who've dedicated their lives to this is to life. Anyway, Raghunath Das, he was a multi-billionaire by modern standards, and he gave it all up. He didn't want anything to do with it. So he would try to run away from home. Parents would have many servants and guards that would run, chase him, find him, bring him back. Practically they locked him up. They didn't know what to do with this boy. He was a young man, so they thought, when you join the Hare Krishna movement, usually your parents think, in the West at least, he'll give that up after a few days. It's just another one of those fads. He went through rock music and drugs and this and that, different things. And he'll grow up, don't worry, it's just not, they often think like that, then 20, 30, 40 years later, of course, it's not quite the same as rock music or LSD or something, some revolutions that youth used to have in America or in the streets, anti-war parades. And later on, they're all part of the whole scene, They're all part of the thing. They all give it up. But Hare Krishna, no. So Raghunath, he was determined, but they're thinking, if we get him married, that's the solution here. Get our son married, and his wife will tie him down. So they found the most beautiful girl that you could find, because they had a lot of money, and Raghunath was a very handsome young man, very intelligent, very lovely person, and heir to a huge fortune. What more can a girl dream of? Huh? What more can they dream of? You know? Everything's set up. So they got the most beautiful girl that could be found, and said she was comparable to Sati, the wife of Indra. Indra's wife. More beautiful. Anyway, this is a comparison. So they got him married, but he was totally disinterested. He still wasn't interested. Couldn't do anything. He still tried to leave home, and there he didn't know what to do. What can you do with a madman of Lord Chaitanya, his father said. If we tie him up, I don't know what, there's nothing we can do. He's mad. He's becoming mad for Lord Chaitanya. Nothing else attracts his attention. But still they would keep him basically locked up, sometimes tied up. Somehow or another they would keep him at home. And one day, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, had left for Puri a long time ago, and Lord Chaitanya had ordered Lord Nityananda. You know what he told him? What did he tell Lord Nityananda? Lord Nityananda was actually not residing in Puri, but he would come every year and he was residing in Puri for some times, but he was coming all the time there for the Rath Yatra and so on and so forth. He was residing there also. Basically, he was mostly in Puri. So what did Lord Chaitanya tell him? What did he tell him? He told him to go away. Leave Puri. Imagine you're there with Lord Chaitanya and his associates, and the Lord tells you to go away. Prabhupada did the same thing with devotees. I remember in Malaysia, the Malaysian Yatra started by Bali Mardan Prabhu Amoga from Australia, Bali Mardan from America. And they went to Malaysia in 1970, and they found it was a very good field for preaching Krishna consciousness. So they wrote to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada wrote, that time Prabhupada was in the Kumbh Mela, January 71. Prabhupada was in Kumbh Mela. Some of you have been Kumbh Mela, Allahabad, Prayag. So Prabhupada was there with the devotees for the Kumbh Mela festival. And Prabhupada received this message from Bali Mardan asking if it was possible for some more devotees to join them. So right there in Prabhupada's lecture in Kumbh Mela, Prabhupada received, just before the lecture, he received this letter. So at the end of the lecture he said, "So, I have received this letter from Bali Mardan." I don't know if he was sannyas at that time, maybe not. But anyway, he received the letter from Bali Mardan, and he said, "So, we want more devotees to go to Malaysia. Who will volunteer?" There was like 40 devotees sat there, mostly boys. "Who will volunteer?" 2 hands went up. Gopal's hand went up, and Hanuman, a devotee from South America, actually from Canada originally, but he was serving in South America, his hand went up. "Yes, Prabhupada, we will go." But they weren't tied up anywhere, particularly very deeply. So Prabhupada said, "Very good, come and see me after the lecture." So they went to see Prabhupada when he finished his lecture. And Prabhupada said, "So you will go to Malaysia?" "Yes, Srila Prabhupada." "Okay, here are your tickets. You're leaving tomorrow morning." Prabhupada was there. They just had to leave. But can we wait till the end of Kumbh Mela? "No, you leave tomorrow morning. Right now. Out." That's how Prabhupada did it. It wasn't hanging around Prabhupada here when he would come. Book distribution would double and treble when Prabhupada would come to the temple. It wasn't like everyone hung around. Everyone did what Prabhupada wanted, not what they wanted. Everyone knew that Prabhupada was most pleased with book distribution. Everyone attended the whole program and then went out on Sankirtan. Just a few devotees stayed back. But one devotee named Pragosh, not the one from England, the one from America, big book distributor, he wanted to cook for Prabhupada. He liked cooking. But he was a big book distributor. And one day he cooked for Prabhupada lunch. And when he brought the lunch in, Prabhupada said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I cooked your lunch, Prabhupada." Prabhupada said, "Anyone can cook my lunch, but not anyone can distribute books. Anyone can, but not like you." You should go on book distribution. No, stay back here cooking like this. Prabhupada was like that. Revatanandan told us the story when, Danavir. Danavir told us the story in Maharashtra, of course. Danavir was in Portland, I think it was Portland. And Revatanandan was there. Prabhupada called him, I think he took him to India, who was the president. And said, who's going to be the president? Well, there's a new back to Dan, or whatever Danavir's name was. He said, okay, you're the president now. And he just left. Been in the movement a couple of months or something, you know. It was like that, you know. That's how Prabhupada started this movement. That's how it spread. There was no training. You learned on the field itself. On the field. There was no courses, nothing. You just went and did it. And depended on Krishna. That was the spirit. Anyway, back to Raghunath Das Goswami. So he wanted to leave home. He couldn't leave home, and on and on. Well, anyway, one day, after Lord Nityananda had been ordered by Lord Chaitanya to leave Puri and go to Bengal to preach, even to the dacoits, Lord Nityananda came to this place. So let's take it up here. Yes, here we go. Yeah, text number 40. Maybe 38, 39, 40, 41. So we'll take it up with 40, 41. This is the father of Raghunath Das speaking. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? Then Raghunath Das considered something in his mind. The next day he went to Nityananda Goswami. Nityananda happened to be passing by that way with many followers. And they were sat by the banks of the river Ganga. Then he heard, it was in Panihati, he heard that he was there. In the village of Panihati, Raghunath Das obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu. Because it wasn't Lord Chaitanya, it was Nityananda, so he could go. He was not alone, he was with others, but he was allowed to go. Who was accompanied by many kirtan performers, servants and others, Lord Nityananda. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him, seeing his influence on Nityananda Prabhu. Raghunath Das was astonished. Raghunath Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place. And the servant of Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, there is Raghunath Das offering you obeisances. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, he's addressing Raghunath, you are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you. You're a thief. Usually thieves keep at a distance. They don't come very close usually. They observe. So sometimes we also, when we don't want our hearts to be revealed, we stay at a distance. Huh? I'm like that. Always keep at a distance. Don't like to be exposed for what I am. So you offer your obeisances at a distance, hoping no one will see you. Sit at the back, hoping no one will see you. And then you can sneak out the door when no one's looking. Escape. So that's one way a thief sometimes behaves. Haribol. And he was also classified as a thief because of the behavior of his family members in trying to extort government funds. So different angles. But the main angle, we'll bring it up in a minute, the main point of being a thief will come up in a minute. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda said, you are a thief. The Lord called him, but Raghunath Das did not go near the Lord. Then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head. He went and caught him. Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows. You, Raghunath, are just like a thief. For instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you. Make a festival. This is the punishment. Make a festival and feed all of my associates yogurt and chip rice. I don't know if you observe this here. It's a wonderful, wonderful festival. It usually occurs at Chiradoi Mahotsav festival of Raghunath Das Goswami. Usually occurs in June, usually. Fantastic festival. It's a fabulous place to observe it. You could even do it live. We sometimes used to do it live. Live means we reenact the pastime with all the devotees. Someone takes the part of Nityananda, someone Raghunath Das, like that, some of Lord Nityananda's associates. You could do it on the grass out there if the weather allows. Maybe it doesn't, but you can do it somewhere. You have a river down the bottom. It's a bit difficult for everyone to get down to the river, especially with all the pots of chip rice and yogurt. You have to. They would soak their. Sometimes they would say they soak their rice in the river, but I don't know how they did that. But anyway, it's a great festival, and the recipes are given in the Chaitanya Caritamrta. You don't have to speculate. You can add to it. Jayapataka Maharaj, I don't know if he still does, used to go to Atlanta. Atlanta temple in America is known as New Panihati. So they have this festival. Jayapataka Maharaj used to oversee the preparation of 1,008 different varieties of chip rice. 1,008. Massive. You don't have to do that. But many different preparations made, offered to Lord Nityananda and his associates like that. Reenact it is really fun. The deep meaning behind the pastime also becomes experienced, you could say, more than usual, through dramatic presentation. So he told him, make this festival, chip rice and yogurt. Very simple. Chip rice. You have chip rice here in this country? Flat rice is kind of like, yeah. It's chip rice a little different, but usually we use flat rice. Very easy to soak. And, mix it with condensed milk. There's many preparations. One is with condensed milk, one's with yogurt, and ghee, and bananas, and honey, sugar, this, that, the other, and camphor, different fine spicings, and so on. Different preparations are there, mixed with fruits and so on. Raghunath Das immediately sent his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of eatables and bring them back. He had servants with him. He would never go alone. Guards as well, of course, keeping an eye on him. Raghunath Das bought chip rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other eatables and placed them all around. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, just like you have a festival here, same thing happens, huh? All kinds of Brahmins and other gentlemen began to arrive. On a daily basis, a handful of devotees are here, right, for class or program. When there's a big festival and they hear there's going to be a big feast, Bringara's cooking, Bharat's cooking. You cook, Bharat Prabhu? No. Wow, you look like a good cook. You good cook?
He cooks pizza, Maharaj.
Huh?
Pizza.
Huh?
Pizza.
There you go. Go for it. Cook nice pizzas. If you have a pizza party, that's the most popular of all in most temples. Even if there's nothing else, you just have no end of pizzas. Huh? Everybody comes. I remember in New Zealand, Auckland, when I was there, I went to TP there for a while. There's one devotee, I've forgotten his name, a black devotee. But he was expert pizza maker, expert. Eventually opened up a restaurant selling pizzas, but it's expert. And we thought, no one's coming for the evening program. So we made Friday pizza night after the program, pizza night. About 100 devotees were coming every Friday, From none to 100 just because of pizza. Everybody turns up, huh? Big feast, big festival. Almost everyone turns up. So like that. People came from all around. They heard there was a festival. They heard there was a feast. People came from everywhere. All the Brahmins turned up, they all found out about it somehow, even without mobile phones and Facebook and WhatsApp and so on. They found out. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das arranged to get more eatables from other villages. He also brought 200 or 400 large round earthen pots. He also obtained 5 or 7 especially large earthen pots. And in these pots a Brahmin began soaking chip rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. In one place chip rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar and bananas. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a special type of banana known as champakala. Then sugar, clarified butter and camphor were added. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmin brought before him the 7 huge pots. On that platform, all the most important associates of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Among them were Ramdas, Sundarananda, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamalakar, Sadashiva and Purandar, Dhananjaya, Jagadish, Parameshwar Das, Mahesh, Gauri Das, and Hoda Krishna Das were also there. Similarly, Udaran Dat, Thakur, and many other personal associates of the Lord sat on the raised platform with Nityananda Prabhu. No one could count them all. And sometimes I think, well, just a blooming list of names, when's it ever going to end? But it's not like that. Each of these names is transcendental. By hearing these names, we become Krishna conscious. In fact, sometimes we hear Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj used to say, when you wake up in the morning, what do you have to do? Your businesses, yeah. What did Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj say? A little bit more, we could say, dramatic than that. You have to beat the mind with shoes. Huh? So you make sure you keep your shoes next to your bed when you go to sleep. When you wake, first thing you do, reach over your shoes and start bashing your head with the shoes, is it? Not exactly. That's not the mind, by the way. That's the head. It's not the mind, it's in the heart. So when he said you have to beat the mind with shoes. So it's interesting. I made a big mistake. I read this somewhere in one of the writings, I guess of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, where it explained one article or something, what it meant to beat the mind with shoes. It means to immediately remember all these associates of the Lord. And was offered 2 earthen pots. In one was chip rice with condensed milk and the other chip rice with yogurt. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many people were there. Each and every one of them was supplied 2 earthen pots, one of chip rice soaked in yogurt and the other chip rice soaked in condensed milk. Some of the Brahmins, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked their chip rice there. Not in the river, they just took their pots and sat there. There's nowhere to sit. Others who could not get a place even on the bank of the Ganges got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chip rice. Thus some sat on the platform, some on the base of the platform, some on the bank of the Ganges, and they were all supplied 2 pots each by the 20 men who distributed the food. At that time Raghava Pandit arrived there. Seeing the situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. He's another eternal associate of the Lord, a great devotee of the Lord. He brought many kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord. This prasadam he first placed before Lord Nityananda and then distributed among the devotees. So other preparations arrived now, right? Some health product or something or another, isn't it? Oh, of course, books should be there. But all kinds of different things. Use T-shirts. I saw one devotee wearing this T-shirt. Prabhu, you got this T-shirt on. Special T-shirt. Huh? Nice T-shirt, isn't it? He likes it very much. Very good idea. They turn up with their T-shirts and their ladies bits and pieces for ladies, some makeup, paraphernalia, what have you, isn't it? They all turn up with their tables, isn't it? Another table has pizza on it. That's the most popular table. Another one's got ice cream for the kids. And, there's tables all over the place. Well, maybe not here, but the shopkeepers all turned up at the festival. They brought their goods with them, set up their tables to sell their chip rice, their bananas, their whatever, pots and so on. And so they all turned up there. As they came, bringing all kinds of food, Raghunath Das, dinner was midday, supper was in the evening. Because in the evening, supper, you know where it comes from? It's a Sanskrit word, S-U-P. It means soup. The Sanskrit word sup means soup in English. You know soup? Soup. So it becomes supper, because every night we'd have soup and bread in the evening. That was our supper, like that. Dinner was a full meal. Midday, full meal. So it came in. Of course, it became that we have 2 meals then when it stopped having the lunch one, or the midday one, because people didn't come home anymore. They worked 100 miles away from where they lived. They weren't coming home anymore. Everyone would come home when I was a kid. Nobody lived far from their workplace. 10 minutes walk at most. School, come home. And they have your dinner, and then go back to school or work. But now they don't do that, especially if you live in Manila. It takes 2 hours to get each way, to get to work sometimes. So they become, people eat at night, big meals. That's why everyone's unhealthy and fat. Because they eat at night, big meal. Not good for your health. Especially late at night. Rice late at night guarantees a nice big belly. So he sat down for his supper with his person. Maharaj tells that story. You've heard it, right? That famous story of Radhanath Maharaj. Then he was Richard or whatever his name was in those days. And he was just living in Vrindavan as an American, but he was a sadhu living there, and he stayed with his Ganesham, who was a very renounced devotee living in Vrindavan. He would stay with him many times. And one day, he was very austere. One day a lady came and stayed in the ashram, also old and very austere. And she spoke English, so Raghunath asked her who she was. She said previously she was married to this Ganesham. He was the heir apparent to the one kingdom in Rajasthan. He was supposed to inherit. And when he was a young man, his family took him to Vrindavan, pilgrimage. They were devotees, materialistic devotees, but nonetheless devotees. They went to Vrindavan, and this Ganesham, who was a prince, he was supposed to be the next king, and they had kingdoms in those days. And he was supposed to be the king. But he fell in love with Vrindavan and refused to go back home again. He never went back home again. He never left Vrindavan for the rest of his life. The parents would come regularly to try to get him coming back. And one time they said, "You're going to be a poverty-stricken beggar for the rest of your life if you stay here. Come on, don't be stupid." He was married. He left everything. His wife was a widow. He left her, young lady. And he said, to his parents, he said, "What do I care for any kingdom of this universe?" And he picked up one grain of dust from Vrindavan on the floor, picked up and said, "This grain of dust is more valuable than all the kingdoms of the universe. I have no interest." The parents were then convinced that there's no way they're going to get him to leave Vrindavan. We may not have quite that intensity of conviction, of devotion, but this is the mood here also. He has incredible opulence, but he has no interest in it. Then Lord Nityananda called Raghunath Das near it behind this pastime. I think many of you know it. What's the hidden secret? There's a couple of clues given there. One was, of course, the remnants of Lord Nityananda. But what's the real one?
Mercy from Lord Nityananda.
Without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you cannot get Lord Chaitanya. Without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you cannot get Radha and Krishna. Not in this mood which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was revealed to the world, at least. Not possible. So the first thing is, Lord Nityananda's mercy is available by? Pardon? Through the spiritual master. The spiritual master's mercy is available by? Serving the devotees. Vaishnava Seva. So that he performed this great festival to serve all the Vaishnavas, everyone and everyone, serving them. So the clear lesson is that we cannot approach we can't approach Krishna directly. One has to go through Lord Nityananda, his line, the Guru disciplic succession. That's the process. It's not a direct thing. Oh, I'm going to go straight to Lord Chaitanya. I'm going to go straight to Lord Krishna. Not like that. Krishna doesn't accept. You may appear to be a devotee who will do this and that, but the reality will not be achieved. We'll still be bound up in this material world. without the mercy of Lord Nityananda. You may be doing this and that, but we're still bound up in this world, attached to material objects, and so on. So that bondage, I assure you, Lord Nityananda said, you are now free from your bondage in this material world. That is by the truth. Lord Nityananda said, you cannot, and then this is the real reason he said he's a thief. A thief takes others' possessions, right? Isn't it? He said, Lord Chaitanya is my possession. You cannot take him unless I give you, my permission, so to speak. Otherwise you're a thief. If you think you can go straight there, you've got to go. It's not ego, it's the fact. That's all. It's not false ego. It's a fact of life. It's not like he's proud or something like a materialistic person. No. This is the reality. We have to go through that system if we want to attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through Nityananda and through Guru and through Vaishnava. If we displease them, then Lord Nityananda will be displeased. Unless we will not get the shelter of Mahaprabhu. Hari Hari! Hari Hari! Hari Hari! Hari Hari! Hari for prasadam! It'll all be gone. The wise devotees do not come to class when I'm giving class, because they know it'll go over time. So they go to the prasadam and they honor prasadam before you all get out the temple and there's nothing left. That happens in many temples, to be honest. That if you go for class, you come, even if it's on time finishing, you'll find that somehow or another, devotees have gone early, the prasadam has come out and half of it's already gone before the devotees in class get there, especially the Maha. It shouldn't be like that, but sometimes it is. So I don't think it's like that here. I'm sure it's not. So it's time for prasadam, 10 o'clock, less than an hour. It's only 50 minutes away. 10 o'clock, kirtan, bhajan. 10 o'clock, so you've got to be quick with your prasadam, okay? Back here by 10. And now I'm supposed to be back by 11. And then there's arti. And then there's prasadam again, is it? Yes. What time? 1 o'clock, okay. So
Dinner.
the dinner, lunch, we call lunch now. Modern term is lunch, huh? Feast. Lunch is generally not very big. It doesn't sound very encouraged. Lunch. Come for lunch, although we call it lunch. The lunch is like a small meal, normally. But this probably would be breakfast. Breakfast is a small meal, and then lunch is a big one, right? I see breakfast here is bigger than lunch. And then after that, you come back after 3 or 4 hours and take your lunch. Another reason why you get nice big fat bellies. You haven't digested the previous meal. Stick another one down the hole, And if you like a meal, you don't have to worry. He's like electricity, like he's a rocket, Rocket digestion. You have a competition. Sit everyone with a massive plate of prasadam. Who can eat it the quickest? Huh? Make a competition. I think Emil will probably win. I only met one person in my life who seemed to be competitive with his capacity to eat quickly. I sit down sometimes at breakfast, and I'm already 50. I know I have a pretty, not a small, but a very light breakfast, and it's mostly fruit and sometimes yogurt, and that's about it. A few nuts, isn't it? Yeah. And I sit down. In 15 minutes, I'm still honoring or eating, and then I say, "Go and take your breakfast." And he has sometimes a full plate, and not just a little snack. And he's finished way before I finished mine. Within maybe 3 to 4 minutes, he can consume a full plate, giant plate. Very expert. If you want to know how to eat fast, just ask him the secret. Hare Krishna. But you should chew. You should chew. The doctors told Petit Pavan that he should chew his food. And Janice is here or not? I don't know. Yeah, isn't it? Chew his food. The doctor said you have to chew your food many times, 20 times or more. Ayurveda says the same thing. Chew your food. Don't just swallow it down. You're meant to eat your water and drink your food. Ayurveda term. It should be like liquid when it goes down the hatch. And eat the food means you don't just swallow it. You at least run it around your mouth a little bit. And that way it's much easier to digest. And he said he was a good patient. He listened to them and he was actually chewing away nicely. Helps the body. I mean, it's a lot of strain on the body to try to digest, a solid block of, pakora. Whole pakora goes down in one shot, like a dog, They got different digestion to us. They got like iron digestive system. Their digestive system is very delicate. So the more you can, make the food, they're like a baby. When you have a baby, sometimes mother chews the food to make it soft and liquidy and palatable. So like that. Chew your food nicely. And you don't need to eat so much either, by the way, if you chew your food nicely. One of the reasons you're so tired in chewing your food, you can't chew anymore. Your jaw's just like, wiped out, The other is you feel more satisfied, get more nutrients out of the food and easier to digest. It doesn't clog your system as easily. Especially with your processed food. It's very difficult for the system to digest, and if it's not properly chewed, it becomes even more difficult. Hare Krishna. So on that edible note, we'll finish this morning's class. Hare Krishna. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Sri Gauradaya, the mercy, Lord Chaitanya's mercy ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Janananda Goswami Maharaj ki jai.